Hello everyone, welcome back here to this 85,000 mile review of my Chevy Volt. I cannot believe it, but we've owned this for almost a year already, and we've almost put on about 18,000 miles, so this does get driven quite a bit, and we've hit 85,000 miles on it. It is quite amazing. So 85,000 miles on the Chevy Volt, and you'll have to excuse the adorable squeaking of my 15 chicks that I have next to me, because I just picked them up for my chicken farm, if you want to call it, my little backyard farm. But anyway, 85,000 miles on the Chevy Volt, and nothing major that has gone wrong with it, and nothing really at all that I have had to fix on this vehicle. None of the interior parts, none of the exterior parts, really nothing at all. It's been just a fantastic vehicle, and for that I appreciate it. And honestly, you know, I've had this vehicle for a year now, and now we're merging onto the highway. I can feel the power, which there really isn't a ton of power to this vehicle, but having this for a year, and the only thing that having to be done on it is just put new tires and a tire alignment done, just normal maintenance that you expect to have done on any vehicle, but not really having to worry about it and just hopping into it. It's like, dang, this is an exceptionally great car. I really haven't had a car yet that I feel reliable enough just to hop in and go any place. And this Chevy Volt it has been that. I'm going to keep the Chevy Volt until the wheels literally fall off of it, until I can't drive it anymore, because it just isn't worth a ton of money right now. And for all the other vehicles that I have, this works perfect in terms of just driving it until the wheels fall off, because I'm not driving any of my SRT vehicles until that happens. So this vehicle has been extraordinary, especially in the wintertime. I personally didn't think that it would hold up as well as it has in the wintertime. Paired with the correct tires on it, this vehicle is a beast. I've got Continental True Contact Tour 54s on the front, so not quite a winter tire, but still a great tire to tackle all elements, whether it be snow, sleet, rain, or slush. Or extreme heat as well. It's really been just a great tire on this car. I would definitely get them again, and the price was okay too. But if you're talking about a vehicle that has zero rattles, perfect comfort on the street for what it is, this is the vehicle for you. And yes, it isn't very fast, but it gets you to where you need to be safe, and it gets you to where you need to be in an adequate amount of time, and that I appreciate. But there has been no interior rattles, with the exception of when it gets really cold. This backlight up here tends to rattle just a little bit, but that's when you're talking about 0 to below 0 temperatures. And other than that, it's really been fantastic. One thing I do have to talk about, though, is the battery degradation. So the battery degradation is real on this vehicle, especially in the wintertime. I just actually passed a Tesla Model 3, and you're not going to get as good a battery range in the wintertime. I think today I got, with a little bit of mixed driving, I ended up with 23.4 miles with about an hour of charging in between there. So it would have been closer to 20 miles. Now, granted, that was mixed driving, and part of that was the interstate driving as well. So again, you know, it's not the greatest mileage in the wintertime per charge, but then again, if you're somebody like me who uses this a lot, you've got that gas engine to back you up, and that gas engine does get fairly good miles per gallon for being a 2013 vehicle. I'm getting in the wintertime, I'm getting right around 30 miles per the gallon, which at premium gas is, you know, costly, but it's way better than what I used to drive around, which was a big Ram truck, and as my daily driver, or even my Jeep SRT that I have now, that's costing me $80. If I were to drive it a whole week, that's costing me about $100 to run. And with this, that's costing me in the peak winter time, let's just say in December, January, that's costing me probably $100 every 2 months to run on pure gasoline. So quite a big difference there because of the electric power of this Volt. And with the Volt, I can get by in the wintertime with about $60 to $70 because I do drive this so much, with about $60 to $70 of electricity. That's about what it's costing me for the winter months right now. In the summer, of course, it's less. It's around $50, so that's a plus. And I don't drive as much in the summer because I own a golf course, so of course my time is spent more so at work. So with that being said, this is the most, honestly, this is the most impressive late model vehicle I've ever owned. It kicks ass. It is such a good, comfortable ride. It feels small when you're driving it, even though it weighs 3,900 pounds. It feels extraordinarily small and refined, and it drives exceptionally well. Because of the battery pack being down low and the weight being down low on the vehicle, this handles like a smaller car than what it is. This handles more like a 3,500 or 3,400 pound car rather than a 3,900 plus pound vehicle. It really is just a kick-ass car. And again, the build quality, I have a base model in here, so I don't have heated seats, I don't have leather, I don't have any of the niceties that a Premier or an LT or anything like that would have. I just have the basic trim. So you get your digital display in front of you, and you get your digital display off to the right, the digital infotainment. But other than that, you know, you get single zone climate. You do get auto, which is nice. None of the niceties, though, that you would get in a nicer trim. You know, no adaptive cruise, no heated seats, no heated steering wheel, nothing like that. So, honestly, though, it doesn't bother me because I've got 5 other vehicles in my fleet that most of them do have that stuff, so I'm not overly concerned about that per se. Again, this is to get me from A to B in a nice, safe manner, and it does just that. But driving it here in the wintertime, I am disappointed in the battery range, but that's for all electric vehicles. In the summer, I get roughly 35 miles to the charge, which is pretty good. I'll be curious to see what the degradation is from last summer to this summer, how many miles or mileage, you know, it has gone down. And again, let's see here, since I bought it, I put on 17,000 miles. So that may have a little bit to do if it does have a little bit of battery degradation too. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't bother me that much because, again, this is such an efficient vehicle. But I am impressed with the wintertime handling here. The traction control system for a front-wheel drive car is excellent. It is a little on the safe side, which is what this vehicle is. So the nannies kick in right away, but at the same time, it keeps you from fishtailing. It keeps you from going in the ditch. You know, it keeps the car fairly straight. And the lower center of gravity helps that in the wintertime when you're driving through snow or slush or ice. It really keeps it in a straight line well. And of course, it all has to do with the tires too. The tires do account for that quite a bit. And having these Continental True Contact 254s on, that helps a ton. But I feel more confident driving this in a wintertime snowstorm, which I have, than my Jeep SRT, which is quite amazing because that's an all-wheel drive monster. Now, the tires on that aren't great, and it's tough to compare the Volt to a Jeep SRT, but I just did that comparison, and this is just such a nice driving and safe vehicle. Other than that, everything is held up well. Suspension, bushings, transmission, everything like that is fine. I haven't had any issues with that yet. Brakes have held up fine because this does have regenerative braking. So when you have it in L, which is basically regenerative braking mode, you're using less brakes. So the brakes on this should really almost hold up for, where you would think about replacing it at 100,000 miles, you could probably get 150,000 miles on the original set of brakes on this vehicle, which I have no problem trying. Like I said though, exterior wise, everything is held up fine. A few rock chips on the front, but one thing I have to say is that the paint on this vehicle, for whatever reason, seems a lot stronger than other GM vehicles from its time. And this being a low to the ground vehicle, especially in the wintertime, you're getting all of the rocks and the salt and the gravel that they put down on the roads, and this car is getting the brunt of that impact because it is such a low vehicle. And honestly, this paint has held up great for the age, and it seems strong. It really does. It seems stronger than other paints, even in my fleet with newer vehicles. And that could be due to the development of the vehicle. GM wanted to do this right when they made this vehicle, and for that I do appreciate it. But exterior wise, everything's held up great. It looks really good. I did have to do a paint correction on it though, because the previous owner was not so OCD about it as I am, which is totally okay. But the paint is looking really nice. Rims are looking good. Everything about this vehicle just spells high quality QC, and the people who made this vehicle really did a hell of a job making it. And again, I'm not a GM guy. We own in my immediate family, we own, out of the 10 vehicles we own, only one of them is a non-Mopar, and it is this Chevy Volt. Everything else is a Mopar. So that just goes to be said right there, how great of a vehicle this is. So again, no issues at 85,000 miles. No rattles, no creaks, everything works, all the sensors work, everything like that. And to wrap this video up, if you're looking at buying a Chevy Volt, there's a tax credit going on right now. There's a 30% or up to $4,000 tax credit that this vehicle qualifies for, which is awesome. So if you're looking for a second vehicle or a third vehicle or whatever, even your main vehicle, and you want a Gen 1 or Gen 2 Volt, don't be afraid to go out and buy one. The Gen 2 is faster, it's more adequate, the range is better. But if you're looking to save a little bit of money, and you live in a city, or your daily commute is 35 miles or less, or you have the ability like me to drive from home to work, plug in at your work or at your business, and then drive home without having to use electricity, then this is the car for you. You're going to save a ton of money. It's literally going to pay for itself. I did the calculations on this. Buying this vehicle, and instead of driving my Ram truck that I sold for my Jeep SRT, which both of those two cost about the same, Jeep SRT being a little bit more in terms of fuel per month, this will pay for itself because of the tax credit and because of the fuel savings. I can't tell you how expensive it would be at 10 to 11 miles per gallon to drive 17,000 miles in a year. That is crazy at $4 a gallon. That is just astronomical. So, or even less, because I do a lot of towing at that. So if you average it out to 9 to 10 miles per gallon, yeah, that's not great. So this Chevy Volt has been a lifesaver for us. It's funnish to drive. It's very comfortable. If you get one of the higher trims like an LT or a Premier, it's even more comfortable because you get the nice cushy leather seating, you get the heated steering wheel, you get all the creature comforts that you would want in a vehicle, and it really really fits the bill great. And if you want space, this car has it. It's a hatch. The seats go down. There's a ton of room in here. I use this car for hauling everything. It's fantastic. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.